There we go. I really appreciate everybody that hung in there. We had some technical difficulties at the beginning, and I really didn't know how to tell everybody. I put something on my Facebook page, but Melanie sent out an email blast. So if you're back on here, you must be in that email. If somebody just told you and you're not on that email list, then she will put her email address in the chat where later on you can go back and look at that. Just send your contact information and your name and say, I'm not in your database for your list for emails. Please put me in there so that we can get everybody in there. And that's how we send out quick information. And Melanie, thank you so very much. Melanie actually is taking over this because Rosie was out and she has stepped in and been marching like a trooper. So thank you so very much, Melanie. Thank everybody that is here. I'm not going to say much about this because I don't know much about it, but I think all of you now have heard about the tragedy that happened at Antioch High School. You know, Antioch High School was in my district before they redistricted. So it still feels like my school, and it should feel like your school because it's here in our area. And what affects somebody there will affect the family and the people throughout the Antioch area. And you will be surprised how many people are affected by this and will dream about it later and think about, are my kids really safe in all of the different schools in the different areas? So you can see our area isn't immune to some of this stuff. The only way we can get through it is by all of us hanging in there, supporting each other. If you're a Christian, praying for each other. Whatever it is that you do to send the good feelings, the good spirits, the good whatever to each other, go ahead and do that because we all need that. I appreciate everybody being here today. We're going to have a lot of the different divisions, and I shouldn't even try to name them off because I know I'll forget somebody, but we're going to have representatives from NDOT, Water Services, the police, fire, codes, someone's from the school board, from parks. Who am I leaving out? Holler out if I left you out, because I know I did.
Senator Oliver will also be joining us a little later.
I'm so elated. Wow. So hopefully when she does, tell her she needs to make her voice, because I probably can't see everything. She needs to make her voice heard. I'm happy. So whenever she joins us, we may stop wherever we are for a couple of minutes to see if she has any words or if she wants to say anything. So instead of going through and introducing everyone, I'm just going to let you, and we did not have an agenda. Next time we'll have an agenda that we'll send, or did you, Melanie? Let me check first.
I don't have an agenda. I do have
okay.
the little graphic that I created that I can put up on the screen that just explains everyone who will be in the meeting.
She is wonderful. Please, please. That's why you always need a kid around. Oh, sorry.
Gen Z in the workforce.
I know. See, I didn't say that because I get them confused. I'm still at millennials. I don't know what they are. But yes, please put that up so people can see it. And I will let you go by whoever she has up there. You can start, and then you can, if you have someone else with you, introduce yourselves first. Okay, so it just starts with NDOT, police, fire, codes, water services, parks, and the school board. And then the senator will be here as well. So if you can kind of remember that order, and if you mess up with that order and somebody else starts first, it is no big deal. So I'm going to turn the program now over to the divisions, and they will tell a little bit about themselves and a little bit about what's going on in our area, but they will also leave time for if you all have some questions for them, or you want to give them, because I know somebody contacted me that had a lot of racing, had a dead end in their area, and a lot of racing and a lot of stuff happening in their area. So if you know some things like that, just quickly say what it is and give the address, and it'll be taken down. We may not be able to resolve it at this meeting, but the person that needs to hear it will hear it, and they'll be working on it. So thank you so very much. I'm going to go ahead. Looks like NDOT is first. And I'm turning my thing down.
Hey, good evening, everybody. My name is Diana Alarcon. I'm the director of the Department of Transportation Multimodal Infrastructure, otherwise known as NDOT. I just want to start real quick by saying thank you for allowing me to be here and visit with everybody. And I also want to thank everybody for on the day that it snowed last week. We appreciate you staying home so we can get the streets clean for you quickly so we can get you back out there safely. So we were super happy with the new snow routes that we used. We felt that the new practice with the new resources we have, which thank council for that, and the mayor, we were able to really get out there and do a bang up job. So I'm super proud of the team. So we do have some projects that are ongoing and coming up in District 33. One is the Hamilton Church and Mountain View turn lanes. Excuse me. There are no more remaining right-of-way conflicts. Utilities have been relocated, and the contract is with procurement to begin the construction. So as soon as we get that procurement done for the construction, we'll take it to council for approval, and then basically we will be out there starting construction on that project. Super excited about that. The next one is 5546 Blue Hole Road guardrail. It is on our high priority list. However, our contractor that is on it has not been available. He's actually out doing Alabama, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Tennessee in guardrails, and he's mainly focusing in on the states right of ways. But we do have the request in with him. So as soon as he has an open time and gets in town, that's one of our first high priorities to get installed, and we'll be ready to go. You also have Old Hickory Boulevard and Pettis Road Roundabout. It's now moving into design. The design is estimated to be completed the fall of this year. So we'll have that ready in the near future to bring back and share with y'all what it's going to look like and everything. We do have some coordination going on the right-of-way and that we have to that we have to get coordinated, and it's pending. So that is going to be another really important part of this project. You know, typically we go into design when we get to 60%. If we discover we have right away we need, that's when we'll actually start working on right away purchasing, or if we have to get construction easements, that's when we start working on that, because that is a very long lead time, especially if there's multiple right of ways and multiple property owners. It does take us a while to go through all of that and collect it. So we feel this will be minor, but we will have to do some. And then also there were some recent improvements that were done at Blue Hole and Pettis at the intersection. So that recently got completed. And then of course we have some traffic calming projects that are going on in District 33. We did open it up. We got submitted for some application. All of those are actually now being reviewed. And just as an FYI, we are going to be presenting on February the 3rd to the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, the Council Committee. We will actually be doing an update and a presentation on our traffic calming program, along with some recommendations on improvements and changes to the program. So we're always looking and always having continual improvement to try to make sure we can get the best deliveries. I will share with y'all, last year we delivered 34 traffic calming programs. And when I say last year, I mean in 23 and 24, we actually delivered over 85 traffic calming programs in the community. So we really got ourselves organized, and we're starting to really get it done. Still have a little bit of a backlog, but we're start pumping it out as soon as this weather starts really changing. Some of it we can start knocking out, and we are actually have the team out there. But of course they get pulled the minute we have to go do any type of salt laying, briming, or snow plowing, or whatever falls in because of the weather conflict. So I'm here to answer any questions, and thank you again, Councilwoman, for allowing me to visit with your neighborhoods.
Questions, please, or particular things that you want to say, or big potholes, or anything where you would be saying it and now you've got an audience to say it to.
Hey, this is Twana. Which Pettis at Old Hickory Boulevard intersection was it? Please, there's 3 of them.
You're muted.
Sorry, thank you. It was actually Old Hickory Boulevard and Pettis Road roundabout that we're working on. It's in design. And we're estimating it to be completed in this fall, but we do have some right-of-way pending issues that we're dealing with, but they're minor, but we are dealing with that right now. We always try to go into it where we do not have to do any right-of-way purchase, but there are times we have to.
Is it the middle intersection? I think there's supposed to be a roundabout at all 3 of them at some point. I just want to make sure it's the middle one.
I don't know which one it is, Tawana. I'll have to ask the team which one they're referring to this one and get back to you, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Hey Diana, Ed Branding in the chat asked, do speed humps cause problems for snow scraping and clearing?
Typically, no, they don't. We had new equipment this year, which was really exciting. And we have some new employees. So we have a couple employees, that, first run, jitters, nervous. We had a few hiccups. We actually had 3 speed tables that were actually lifted, and we were out there the next day actually correcting them and then getting them reinstalled. But typically they don't, because we've trained our guys, but we do have some new folks and we have new equipment. So we had a combination of new things, and that just was a little bit difficult for some of our employees. But again, we brought everybody back in. We did some more training. So we're hoping the next snow run, we won't have any of those issues, just like we typically have 1 or 2 that does come up because it was already loose, but our team is trained on how to handle the snow plows around on speed humps. So we typically don't have the issue, but we do have some new employees and new equipment. So it was a learning experience and we learned from it. Thank you.
Any other questions before we go to the next one? Next.
Have police speak.
Hey, good evening. Thank you for having me on here. My name's Kevin Lovell. I'm the commander at the South Precinct on Harding Place. South Precinct covers 69.5 square miles of South Nashville, including your area. And so some of the updates, I didn't want to bore you with numbers and stats. So I just want to talk about some of the things that we're doing that hopefully you'll see improvements on in your area. We've done a really good job starting this year with keeping our calls for service at a manageable level. We were usually holding calls in the 30s and 40s. We're now holding calls that are probably in the 6 to 10 pending calls total throughout each shift. So we're able to get more officers out in the neighborhoods, and hopefully you'll start seeing more of the officers, seeing more of the police cars in your areas, up and down your streets, in your neighborhoods, and in areas that are experiencing some of the issues you're having out there as far as shots fired, things like that, people driving by, shooting at signs. And so I'm hoping we can get more people out there. We got a new detail coming online February 1st that will add another 40 police officers on the street that'll be helping each precinct with calls for service. Right now, the highest precincts with calls are my precinct and Hermitage precinct. We usually have the highest calls. So I'm sure we'll get some of that attention, which will lead us to be able to focus more on neighborhoods. And that's my goal this year. Last year, we were focused on some of these apartment complexes, especially out there in your area that are seeing some issues with breaking into cars or car theft and robberies. So we're going to focus more this year into the neighborhoods, being visible, being receptive and responsive to your calls for service, and that is our priority. making sure we're getting to your call efficiently. We've had an issue here lately or last year with, wait times being extensive, and that's just because of the number of calls. So with our calls being lower, we're now able to get to you more quickly. So I'm hoping you'll see an increase if you call, that you won't wait a long time for an officer to get there. We're also going to be working. I have several initiatives that I do during the week with officers, especially during the overlap hours between 9 p.m. and 4 a.m. And so I have more officers out during that time period. And with the calls being low, I can focus those officers into specific areas that are seeing issues like your area. And so you may not see them at night, but they will be out there focusing on extra patrols in areas, looking for criminal activity, suspicious vehicles, all those things that folks call in about. And during the day, I know we get a lot of issues with traffic and parking and things like that. So we are assigning a car, an officer during the day shift and evening shift to just focus on our traffic crashes, our parking issues, and any speed enforcement or traffic enforcement you're wanting to see on some of the roads in your neighborhood. So we're focused on that as well. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer and see what we've got.
Two things that I want to ask you before they come in. I want to update on the new precinct, if you have an update on that at all. And two, I saw a Facebook post of Bell Road, and I thought I was looking at the movie Fast and Furious. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
So the new precinct is still on time. The walls are up. They're putting the roof on. They're going to be starting to work inside. Deputy Chief or Assistant Chief Green is working on making sure staffing levels in patrol are in line with what we need to staff that new precinct. So we're hoping to have 500 in patrol staffed before that precinct opens. That way, when the precinct opens, that precinct can be staffed fully. So it's on time. No issues that I'm aware of. I did get an update from Commander Laura, who will be assigned to that precinct. He says he's not seen any issues out there. They're working on time. No backlogs yet. I think the weather here the past week, with it being below 30 degrees, below 40 degrees, you can't really work with the concrete out there. But they're doing other things to make sure they can get prepped for when the weather does warm back up, so they can get back on that. The video you saw on Facebook was an older video. We do have street racer initiatives working with traffic. They did work last weekend. Because of the weather, they didn't really see anything. The weekend before that, they did work on a Saturday. I know they made 30 to 40 traffic stops, road citations, issued citations, misdemeanor citations for reckless driving, driving without a license, insurance, things like that. They made a few arrests for outstanding warrants. And they've been citing people now with the organizers. If they can locate the organizer, they're citing that person for inciting a riot when they do those big street takeovers. So with the street racer initiative, when they usually work on a Saturday, unless we have some type of intel that they're going to be doing something on a specific day. But Saturdays are usually the days they go out and work. And we have a list of locations in South Nashville and Hermitage and in the Midtown area that they will ride and check and look. And it's usually we usually work with THP, so we have their helicopter up, we have our helicopter up, we have several units from Tennessee Highway Patrol, and of course the ticket from Tennessee Highway Patrol is a lot more expensive than a ticket from the Metro Police Department, just because of the city charter only allows $50. So you get a ticket from THP, you're paying $300-400 for that. So that has a little more bite in it. So we like to work with them, and they're really good about partnering with us and helping us out with those initiatives as well. So yeah, I did see the video, and just know we're focused on that still, and we're working with THP, and we're also working with Mount Juliet, Smyrna, and Rutherford County to help us with some of those, because they always go to those locations, so we still get them stopped and identified.
Anybody else have any information or any questions or anything they want to share?
Hey, yeah, I got a question. Um, Good to see you again, Kevin. Uh, um, Marquez here with October Woods HOA. Um, do you know why? I didn't ask you this at our HOA meeting, but do you know why the crime has increased in the Antioch area? I see a lot of people online making jokes about, Antioch being the place to not want to come. And when I was in undergrad, when I came to Nashville, only thing I heard about was the place to live in Davidson County or in the Tennessee area was Antioch. And now it is, it's changed. And of course, we're trying to get it back to where it was, the prestige that it was back in the 90s. But I just want to know, I know you guys are doing all that you can, and thank you so much for your service. But it's hard, I know it is. Um, but why did the crime like just double out here, or why did more come? What happened?
Right. So when you look at Antioch, when I was growing up, I lived in the Woodbine area, and Antioch was, basically country to us. There wasn't a whole lot of things out there to do. Hickory Hollow Mall came online. We started going to Hickory Hollow Mall. So when you look at Antioch now, and I want you to think about 10, 15 years ago, look at all the apartment complexes and the infrastructure that has been built in Antioch. There is more population in Antioch and compacted into Antioch than you can see out in West Nashville, for instance. West Nashville has more um, square miles, but Antioch at 60, South Nashville in a whole 69 and a half square miles, we are the most populated and most condensed area in the city. And so with these apartment complexes popping up 5, 6, 7 at a time, and we have all this influx of people moving in, and staffing levels for the police department as far as South Precinct hasn't really increased over the years and until now. And so um, with all that coming in, all those people coming in, it's hard for the police department to keep up with some of the crimes that you're seeing. So it's not really, there is more crime statistically that hit the entire country, like motor vehicle theft and theft from motor vehicle. Though those crimes were specific to the entire county and more over the country with Kia and Hyundai. And so now you're seeing we've been able to reduce those crimes by 32% over last year. And so what you're seeing now is we have shootings, people are riding around shooting guns. So that's an issue with gun crimes that we're working on. We have issues with road rage, things like that really is a national issue because people are always, road rage is a serious issue. So I don't know that it's a worse area. I think there's more people in our area. And I think that as the police department changes to address the population in Antioch with the new precinct coming online, this new detail coming online in February 1st, that you'll be able to see more police officers out, and hopefully that will deter a lot of the pop-up crimes that we're seeing, like the road rage and the shots being fired in the areas. And then we're working specifically on those individuals targeting apartment complexes and neighborhoods to break into vehicles and sheds like that. So my opinion is it's the rapid influx of people coming into Antioch. It's the apartment complexes coming into Antioch that are bringing all these people to us that you're not seeing in other parts of the county.
And I'd like to say yes to all of that I thought about, but also, our area, some parts of our area is considered okay. We hear a lot of shots, and we know that it's the people riding around in cars, shooting straight up or shooting the signs and things like that. But also some of the shots, our area is an area where you can have, given the right area and nothing right beside you, you can have target stuff in your backyard. And so that might be some of the shooting that you hear. And also another piece of it is because of the name Antioch, it seems like ever anything happens here, it's almost like if anything ever happens on Jefferson Street, then they say it happened at TSU. So it's like if anything happens here, it's like way out, but crime happens in other areas as well. But I think we just don't hear about it as much, or it's not highlighted as much as it is here. So I think it's a variety of different issues, and it's just going to take all of us working together to help talk to our neighbors when we see things that shouldn't be done, so that we can all work together and make this whole area a better area.
And I think it's also social media. So you see more people talking about Antioch than you do any other place. So I want to, a couple weeks ago, West Nashville and East Nashville both had a rash of vehicle break-ins. Together, they had more than 180 vehicles broken into in a week period. So we didn't hear about that in West Nashville because there's not a large social media platform that people talk about in West Nashville. East Nashville, you heard something about it because there was an incident where people had wanted to have a community meeting. So Antioch, the people in Antioch I think it's a younger group. Someone asked, what is the age group people moving in? I think it's a younger group of people moving into Antioch coming from other places, and their social media imprint is a lot bigger than other areas. So Antioch, when people say Antioch, they could mean anything from Cane Ridge to Harding Place when they talk about Antioch. So it's kind of hard to say specifically Antioch is getting in my opinion, Antioch is getting a bad rap because Antioch is not as bad as people portray it to be.
Anybody else before we go to the next one? Okay.
Thank you all.
I love Antioch too. Next, please.
You could have fire speak.
Thank you, Council Lady. Mark Young, Nashville Fire Department. I am the legislative liaison for the department. Before I get into what the fire department's footprint is looking like out in District 33, let me pick up on the conversation that's just was going on with Commander Lovell. For us, call volume is the highest. If we want to cut Davidson County up into a pie, and Antioch's a slice of the pie, our call volume is higher in Antioch than any parts of the county. And what triggers a 911 call is addresses, people, and vehicles. And that is what is the highest in numbers in Antioch than any other part of the county. That's the reason that call volume is so high. Our truck company that's out at Station 26 off of Hickory Park Drive is the busiest truck in the city. And these break-ins, I know you've been seeing recently on the news about vehicle break-ins. We are experiencing a high volume of vehicle break-ins at our fire halls, and it's happening most of the time when they leave out on a call, and when that happens, when the fire hall dumps out where there's nobody around, and then they hit the vehicles. Just Sunday night, I know this is not in your district, Council Lady, but at Murfreesboro Road and Forest View Park, Station 33, we had 3 cars that got hit Sunday night at that location, and then they hit some other ones in some other parts of the town. But we don't have an answer to stop this. What we are doing though is installing cameras and better lighting in the parking lots of all the fire halls, and that has started to begin now. Installation will be happening soon. Hopefully that will uh, you know, slow some of this down. There's been some conversation about maybe we ought to, you know, put fencing and gates up around the fire halls, and there's some halls that you could do that with, and there's some halls that the footprint just will not allow that, the way they're sitting on the property. So, you know, I'm an Antioch High graduate, and I grew up off of Haywood Lane, and I love Antioch, and it's sad that we're seeing all of this crime. Nothing against growth, but the crime's coming with it. Like Commander Lovell said, I believe, apartment complexes just, there's a large number of apartment complexes being built in the area, and I think that brings crime. When, I think it goes hand in hand. But anyways, on the fire department's goals, I know the administration's goal, and their eyes are set for the next additional fire company to be built somewhere out in Southeast. It's needed. Well, we need 3 or 4 out there actually. We have not seen growth in personnel in numbers in Antioch, and well, I've been on the job 28 years, and there's not been a single increase in fire department personnel in Antioch in 28 years. And so we know what the growth looks like in 28 years. Like Captain Lovell just said, I was there when Antioch, I was in the 11th grade when Hickory Hollow Mall was built. So, but anyways, speaking of Hickory Hollow Mall, Global Mall, fire headquarters is going to be moving to Global Mall. It'll be a temporary move, and we'll be moving into the old Sears building of Global Mall. We'll be there until a new headquarters is built, which that will be built behind the jail on 2nd Avenue. There'll be a fire hall under it. Used to be a fire hall there. It's been torn down. But when the rebuild happens, the fire headquarters will be built on top of that fire station. And that's where it was years ago. That's where headquarters was. So that's what's kind of going on in the fire department. And, we just hope for some funding, and we keep asking for some funding to make the a new fire hall out, at least one. We'd like to have it immediately out in Antioch. Thank you.
Questions? I saw something come up in the chat. It came up so quickly. You may want to look at that.
Lawrence and Zena Wood wanted to know, where is Nashville building the new fire departments, and why not build more in Antioch?
Okay, so there's a couple of rebuilds that's in the works, and the 2 rebuilds that are on the table right now are out in the Bordeaux area, out on Buena Vista, out in that area. There's some 2 fire halls there that's very old. That's a couple of rebuilds. That is not additional. As far as I truly believe the next new fire hall that comes online will be somewhere in the Southeast area.
Thank you so much, Mark. I also have another question from Tawana, who said a representative who is speaking about the California fires said that the national standard for response time is 5 minutes. Is that Nashville's response time, or do we have a shorter or longer period?
Am I on? Can you hear me?
I wasn't asking
Yes.
if that was Nashville's response time. I was asking, is that a true national standard?
Yes, that is NFPA. That is a standard that you would like to meet. We meet that sometimes with with reduced staff, increased numbers in calls, that's very hard for Nashville to meet that standard.
Another question?
We have
Okay,
a few questions for parks, but I'll just address those when we get to that topic.
okay, great. Next.
If we can have codes go ahead, I'm thinking that they weren't able to join.
Did we see somebody from codes on here?
Yes, I'm trying to pinpoint who it was, but I think they may have left or gotten disconnected. We'll move on to parks if Kevin is available, and then we'll just come back.
Yeah. Hold on. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
How's everybody doing tonight? My name is Kevin Roten. I am work with Metro Parks. I am a special project manager there at Metro Parks. I used to be on the Metro Council with Antoinette. Antoinette and I spent quite a few years. We spent quite a few years on the Metro Council together. We also worked together a lot when we worked up at the state. So I've known Antoinette a long time. I'm also a lifelong Nashville resident. I was born here, grew up out in the Donaldson Hermitage area, went to DuPont High School, and graduated from MTSU and got my law degree from down in Memphis. And after 25 years of practicing law and being a councilman, I decided it was time to hang up the law license, and I was fortunate enough to get a position at Metro Parks, and I've been working with them. I work with the council and work with all the friends groups and try to make sure they get everything that they need. So right now, I was going to kind of bring you up to speed on what's been going on with Metro Parks. We have our phase 2 of Mill Ridge Park has just, hold on just 1 second, it closed. I'm trying to find that. I'll find it for you just 1 second. I want to make sure y'all get 1 second. There we go. Mill Ridge Park, we got phase 2 going on with that. The final permitting is in progress, and we're looking to have a bid in the next 60 days. Mill Ridge, the phase 2 is going to have a new splash park and a toddler play area. They're going to have an event pavilion with audiovisual capabilities so you can have larger events in Mill Ridge. And there's going to be more parking at the entrance to phase 1 for everybody out there. It's also going to do a full renovation to the Moore family home on the property across the street. And the Friends of Mill Ridge Park are adding an event barn and parking with restrooms to the same property. So that's going to be a big addition out there to Mill Ridge Park. I know they did. I know because Mill Ridge and Ravenwood Park over in Hermitage got done the phase 1 at the same time about 3 or 4 years ago, and so now they're coming on with phase 2. So that's going to be really nice out in that area. The Southeast Community Center playground just got new resurfacing. It's all been poured with the new rubber safety surfacing, and that's really nice. So if you get a chance, that's all complete. You can go by there and check that out. See what else we've got going. We got quite a few things going. I want to make sure y'all hear about everything. The Mill Creek Greenway, you know, we had the shooting there a while back, and NES has put security lights at the small parking lot there, and there's a camera that's being installed. Also, at the other end of the Greenway, at the big parking lot, they're putting up solar lights and solar cameras there, and they'll be coming up within the next month. So those were all as a result of a lot of folks calling in saying that, you know, it was just too dark in the area. Obviously, this happened during the daytime, but we want to make sure if anyone's there that you feel safe. So that's what's going there. Pitts Park has, find that for you real quick. I know we've got a lot going on there. There is a new playground at Pitts Park that just opened recently. We have electric gates that are now active at Pitts Park. There's been a lot of tree removal going on over there. The ash borer, we have to remove those. The state's and requiring it. They can kill other trees, and so they're having to remove a lot of trees. And so the dog park's been closed, but that should be, once the trees are all taken care of, that should be reopening soon. We also have had meetings out at Pitts Park. Lieutenant Irvin and John Holmes, our assistant director, who's over the fields out there, had meetings with a lot of the parents at the baseball field because of gunshots. People, if y'all are probably aware, once the sun goes down and everybody leaves the parks, teenagers love to go to parks and get into trouble, and so they'll go out to parks and just start shooting guns. And so we have to make sure the police are always having to go there. The park police are also going to start doing additional security around Pitts Park to make sure that doesn't happen anymore, and they're going to put an eye in the sky there at the park. And so we also are working on getting a Cane Ridge Pocket Park, and I know Antoinette's been very, very energetic about getting that done. It's in the CIB, and we've been working with the mayor's office, and Antoinette's been working with the mayor's office, and it's our hope that through the next capital spending plan that can be put in there. And there's a lot of things that will go into that pocket park, but I don't want to say everything, because if I say something that's not there, everybody gets upset if you say something like that. So it's about a $3 to $5 million pocket park, and so the planning department at Parks is working on that. And so we're hoping that the mayor's office, and it's on our list of things. I know Antoinette's been pushing for it hard, so hopefully that we'll be able to get that in the next capital spending plan, and then they can get planning and we can work on that very soon. So that's about all that we have going on right now in District 33.
Question, Kevin.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you all have anything planned for Cane Ridge Park? I know some people were talking about some type of gate or something after closing times, because at night there are folks going in there and parking and doing goodness knows what. So instead of having police over there all the time, that needs to be looked at, Cane Ridge Park.
Okay, Antoinette, I'll get with our maintenance folks. We have a whole list of parks that are getting gates put on the entrances where they can be put on the entrances. And if Cane Ridge Park is one of those, we had the mayor's office funded quite a few, I think it was about $10 million worth of fence, the gates around the city. I think you're aware, Monique, but for folks that aren't aware, we have Metro Nashville has 20,000 acres of parks, and we have over 100 parks throughout the city. So, and some very large, some very small. So we're always trying to work to make sure that they're safe, and keeping folks out when they don't need to be there is usually one of the biggest problems that we have. So Antoinette, I'll get back with you tomorrow, or I can email you, text you a little bit later and let you know if the gate's going up at Cane Ridge Park. Okay.
I appreciate that. And would you check, I'm seeing some people didn't really know, smaller park, but they didn't really know what you were talking about, pocket park. So if you would just check the chat right quick before you leave.
Sure. Sorry. Yeah, a pocket park is like a smaller park. And the Cane Ridge Park, you probably know, Monique, Antoinette, more than I do, as far as where Cane Ridge, where the pocket park, where they're talking about that going in. Are you familiar with the location of where they're talking about that?
It's over there kind of behind the club and down a little bit that way. It used to be, okay, I don't know if any of you knew where Olive Branch used to be on Cane Ridge. Across the street from there and where that parking lot is, all that area back over in that area, that's the kind of area where we're talking about.
And that's about all I have, Antoinette. If you need anything else, just let me know and I can get it back to you tomorrow. If anybody has any questions, I've got to run here in just a second. I got to get my kids. They're at the grandparents' house, so I got to run and get them here in just a second. So
Appreciate you, Kevin. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Antoinette. Everybody have a good night.
Good night, dear.
Oh, Antoinette, I want to say one thing because y'all were talking about it earlier, and I think it's, when I was a councilman, the Hermitage precinct, I used to always notice this, the Hermitage precinct covered from the county line all the way to downtown. And whenever they would talk about shootings that were happening downtown or in Donaldson or, over around the interstate somewhere, they would always say Hermitage. It was because it was the Hermitage precinct. So when they open the Southeast precinct, they don't need to, always say it's because they always say the precinct when it could be, or if they're going to say Antioch, I don't know what they're going to call the precinct, but you don't want them to continue saying the Hermitage when the shooting could be, 20 minutes away. But if they keep saying the same thing over and over again, it makes people feel like that part of town is not good, and you just don't want them doing
Exactly.
that. You just don't want them doing
Exactly.
that. So,
Yeah.
y'all have a great night. I'll talk to y'all
Thank
later.
you, Kevin.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Who do we have next, Melanie?
I believe that concludes all of our speakers. We did have codes on here earlier, but I believe that they had to run or were disconnected from the call and they haven't joined back yet. So I don't believe Senator Oliver will be able to join, probably most likely because of yesterday's events.
Yes. Yeah.
But
Okay.
if anyone has any questions that they would like addressed before we leave, they can feel free to put it in the chat and I will reach out to the departments that were unable to attend today's meeting directly and get your response.
And she will send it to everybody that's on that email so that if you are not on that email, look up through there for her email address so that you can be put in there. Just give your name, your email address, and where you are so we know that you're in 33. And she's been very good about sending out blasts and everything. I'm loving her energy of doing that. So if you do have any questions, please do that, and then we will send that to everybody. If you know of anybody, because there are a lot of people, I sent it to just one person, a friend of mine, and said, why aren't you on this call? And they're like, we don't know about it. If you know people that are in the district but have not done this, please tell them to send their email in so that they'll get on the blast. And to get on my Facebook page as well, because I'll put stuff on there. There is a District 33 Facebook page, which is not mine. It was a 33 that was from long time ago before I was even there. And I don't own that page. A lot of information is put there. A lot of good information is put there, but it's everybody does it so that you're in the district. You'll find out information, whether you're in this one, 32, 31, whatever. But the one that is just for mine, if you look it up, is Antoinette Lee 33. So if you look up my name, it has got to have a 33 behind it. It will show you my Facebook page. That is not my personal one, but my council one. And you don't have to be friended to do that. You just go find it and click like, and then you're in it, because we will be putting things there too. So I hope you got the last email that actually listed meetings. I believe it is until March. So
Yes.
that you will have those. And Melody has fixed it so it's the same little QR, or as I found out with my laptop, you go down where at the bottom of the page and hit on that little line and it'll take you to it. So you all will already have that. And I'm going to try to have, I try to have these every 3 months, where I have all of the districts in to come answer your questions. So when you put stuff in the chat, also put, like, I wanted, and I don't know if I told her this, but NES should be here because I've had a lot of questions about NES. So if there's somebody specific that you would have liked to have asked questions of tonight that weren't on here, put that in the chat as well, saying this is who we would like to see there. Now, Melanie, I'm going to ask you a question about, I don't know if you saw this question. There was a question in the chat about getting to the the recordings on YouTube, how long it takes for them to download to YouTube or anything. Can you just share something about getting to the recordings of these sessions on YouTube?
Yeah, so unfortunately, I don't have the ability to post them myself. We have to run those through ITS, but they had several people quit in the past few weeks, which is why it's taking substantially longer to get them out. But with the newsletter, what I can do is just to these news blasts that we're sending out, I will just include the last meeting on there so that anyone who attends the next meeting can also view prior meetings onto that. And you guys should be receiving that from an email called nashville.gov. It will not come from me. It won't come from Rosie. It'll come from an email called nashville.gov, Councilmember Antoinette Lee. If anyone has any questions or concerns on how to get to there, please feel free to email me directly and I'll help you get signed up for Councilmember Lee's newsletter. And you can also click on the link that I put in the chat to subscribe to Councilmember Lee's newsletter or any other Nashville newsletters that are out there.
Wow, she just like, it's there.
Melanie, I'm sorry, can you repeat one more time how to find those links a little slower?
The recordings or the...
Yeah, specifically the recordings.
So typically you can find them on YouTube just by searching District 33 on Metro Nashville Network. But due to like understaffing at ITS, it's taking us a lot longer to get those out because they need to be manually reviewed the entire meeting before it goes up, and closed captions need to be added. So I wouldn't expect it for a few weeks until after the meeting. And at that point, it's not very useful. So I will be including them in these newsletters that we are sending out.
So if we couldn't find them last year before there were personnel numbers problems, is it just that all of them never got uploaded? Will they ever show up?
I am
It's
not
probably
sure.
a Rosie question, and she is not on here.
Yeah, I wasn't working at that time at the council office, so I'm not really sure. But if there are any meetings specifically that you would like me to go see if I can find in the archive, I'm more than happy to do so. Just feel free to send me an email. And then I saw also your message. If it's going to be the same QR code from now on, it will be that same QR code for all meetings for District 33. And then it will also be, I've just put another link in the chat. If anyone has issues scanning the QR code and wants to copy what the link for the actual meetings will be from now on, it is also in the chat.
Or go back to that email that has when the meetings are, and at the bottom of each one of those is a little link, because it wasn't colored, so I didn't know it was the link, but I went there and I hit on it, and that took you to it as well. All right, any other questions? I want to thank everybody for taking time out to be on here. I hope you got some good information. And if you didn't and you still have other questions, put them over in the chat, because the miracle child is going to go through and get them all and find answers to them and send them to you. So it is fantastic. It's not as cold as it was last night, so I hope you sleep well. I hope everybody's pipes are doing well. And again, thank you so very much for being here. And Melanie, thank you for being a star.
Of course, I'm also going to add my office number into there just in case anybody has issues with email, because I do realize that some people don't have access to an email. So if you do have any questions on how to get subscribed, please feel free to call that number between the hours of 8 o'clock and 4:30. All right.
Thank you so very, I was giving them a second in case they wanted to write that before we left, but thank you so much, everybody. Have a very good night. Rest well.